Quad bike jail sentence quashed for Cromwell man. Cody Mitchell, of Cromwell. A man jailed after his friend died when he fell from a quad bike has had his prison sentence quashed by the Court of Appeal. Cody Ethan Mitchell, 23, was freed from the Otago Corrections Facility on Thursday and will serve the remaining 4 months of his sentence on home detention. He was serving a 15-month prison sentence after his friend, Andrew Paul Grubb, 20, died as a result of falling from a quad bike Mitchell was driving. Otago country rugby player Andrew Grubb, 20, of Cromwell, died after falling off a quad bike on the early hours of Sunday, September 11, 2016. Mitchell admitted careless driving under the influence of alcohol causing death after the September 11 incident, in Cromwell. The Court of Appeal hearing was held on May 31 and the decision issues on Thursday. It was the second appeal filed by Mitchell after an appeal to the High Court was denied in April. Mitchell's mother Linda Mitchell said the decision was unbelievable. She had spoken to Cody by phone and said he was emotionally drained but would be over the moon to be out of prison. He wasn't enjoying being in there. Cody Mitchell's Auckland-based lawyer Nick Chisnall said it had been a pretty difficult road for him and he was pleased with the decision. The Court of Appeal decision says the focus of the appeal was put on Mitchell being given a jail sentence instead of home detention. A key factor was the seriousness of the offense, decision documents say. Recognizing always that a life has been lost, we nevertheless do not agree that this charge is one that, by its nature, tells against a sentence of home detention. Comparatively, it is far from the most serious of offences. The quad bike was seriously overloaded, meaning there was no real ability for the passengers to hold on adequately, and none of the young men had helmets. However, the driving was otherwise at the lowest end of culpability. Another factor was deterrence, the decision says. A previous drink driving offense was relevant, but there was a great deal about Mr. Mitchell that was positive and little to suggest he was an offender who needed a deterrent sentence, it says. The case for a sentence of home detention was strong. A sentence less than imprisonment was an appropriate outcome. The Crown accepted many judges would have imposed a sentence of home detention but submitted no errors were made in the sentencing as there was sufficient seriousness, the decision says. Careless driving under the influence of alcohol causing death carries a maximum of 3 years jail. Grubb's father Jeff Grubb did not want to comment on the decision. The summary of facts says Grubb's family accepted the reality of events leading up to his death but remained angry about events following the incident. Grubb fell from the back of Mitchell's bike in Cromwell after the pair and 2 others rode it to a party. All were intoxicated but the quad bike was traveling slowly, the facts say. After Grubb fell, Mitchell and the 2 friends took him home instead of calling emergency services as they thought he was simply drunk and not seriously injured. He had a small cut on his head and had vomited. Another friend called an ambulance about an hour later after Mitchell and the others carried on to the party. The trio initially told the friend and ambulance officers Grubb fell from a fence. They told the truth when learning he was in Dunedin Hospital. Grubb's life support was turned off 5 days later. Mitchell went to his bedside the morning after he learned he was critically injured. Special conditions attached to Mitchell's home detention include not to possess or use alcohol and drugs and to complete a drug and alcohol course.